Welcome to Door Insider, where we take a deep dive into the mindset, the why, and the how of the industry's top entrepreneurs, leaders, recruiters, and salespeople. We are the Door Nation. Let's go.
Welcome everybody to Door Insider. I am your host for this episode, Austin Wyrick. Glad to be here with you guys. Today I have in here with me the great Ashton Buswell. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man.
Glad you're here.
Happy to be
Ashton, he's been in door-to-door sales since 2005. He's used to sell satellites, satellite systems for homes, alarms, and he's been in solar now for about 10 and a half years. He actually holds some very impressive records. Most sales in a day with setters, 22. Most sales in a day self-gen, 16. Most in a week, 46. Most in a month, 64. And most in a quarter, 149. Has a beautiful wife and 4 beautiful daughters, and he's very passionate about helping first-year reps. That's quite
me.
That's quite the achievements there, man. I appreciate it. How do you, before we dive in, I have to know, how do you manage to get 149 sales in a quarter?
Dude, I love that you went to that one first because most people go to 22 in a day.
Okay.
I think the most impressive one is the 149 over the quarter because lots of people can go really hard, have a great month, and then it's a lot of work to get 50 sales or 30 sales or 25 sales in a month, you know?
Yeah.
So to do 64, but to do 149 essentially is almost 50 a month. How do you do that? You have a team that is all in it.
Yeah.
And you're all in it too. And you help them get fired up. There was a guy that held the record previous to me. I want to say he did 118.
Wow.
Or something like that. And so I was like, guys, we need to beat this. This is the record that we need to go after because not that I don't like that guy. I like that guy, but I think that we can beat that.
Sure.
And so just built them up. The cool thing is the kind of ramping up to that, the previous quarter before that one, I got 114 in a quarter, which is still like, that's over a 3-month period.
That's impressive.
That's over 30 a month, you know?
Yeah.
So we were just like gunning for it. So we didn't get it. And then we had systems in place and everything dialed. And then the next quarter we got it and we blew past it. Right. It's awesome.
How long? So, you know, as we read earlier, you know, you've been in the industry 10 and a half years. How long were you in the industry before you had set that record?
That's a great question, man. So that was I've been in door-to-door sales since 2005.
Right.
I had a couple years where I did some businesses with my brother and some other things, but I was in solar probably like 4 years, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe not even
In
that.
4 years?
Maybe 3 years.
Hold
Or
on.
somewhere in that.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And in one quarter, 149 deals.
Yeah.
Wow. Installed?
No, those were sales.
Sales.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still impressive.
Yeah.
Wow. No, dude, I look forward to picking into the mind of what that looks like. Want to do things, you know, a little different today. I want to dive into the adventure of how you got to where you are. You are currently the vice president of sales acceleration. Is that for a specific region?
No, it's kind of over the whole company. So I help everyone. And the acceleration part is like, hey man, find places where we need some fuel and go add some fuel. And then I also, you know, kind of self-inflicted have decided that if there's holes I need to find or that I need to plug, I need to help like plug the holes and then put fuel in the fire. And that's kind of my role. So I do all kinds of things, lots of training. I travel to teams. I do lots of Zoom calls. I work with customer service. I work with marketing. I work with our inside sales team. I work with our traveling team. I work with our retentions department, kind of all over the place.
It seems like a big task.
Yeah, I got lots of things that I do, lots of hats.
So before you got to that point, right? When you came in, I'm assuming you're just the average door knocker closer, right?
Yeah. Just a regular guy. I mean, I'm real passionate in that intro you read. I'm real passionate about the first year sales rep.
Yeah.
Because I was there and I know what it's like. And I'm also real passionate. There's some guys that are like just naturally gifted at selling stuff.
Yeah.
Right. That they know all the analogies to say, They know all the words to say whenever to whoever, right? And I had some fun and funny experiences when I was a kid. I tried to convince, I didn't try, I convinced some of my friends that they should trade me their gushers for my carrots, because carrots were healthier and they would get fuller.
Yeah.
And so I sold some of my friends, whether they just gave them to me because they were trying to be nice or I was pestering them so much, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I have some sales background or some sales like in me, but
Sure.
I'm more just a wrestler that knows how to get after it and work hard. So I started out, like when I first got into sales, it was in 2005, and the state of Utah freestyle wrestling coach and I were friends, and I went and visited him, and he said, hey, you should go out and knock satellites with Brandon. He's knocking some satellite systems in I can't remember where he was at. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what that's about. I don't know how to sell. And
if I'm not mistaken, because I'd listened to your last podcast, you were on a mission. Is that correct?
I served a mission.
You served a mission.
Then I came home and I worked in a steel mill. I worked at I was doing bending steel, and I was cleaning toilets. I was just like, I was the grunt at the place with muscles. All the old guys would tell me to lift all the heavy stuff, and I would go move it all around. And in that time, that's when I went and visited my old wrestling coach, and he told me I should go and sell. And I was like, I don't know how to do any of that. And he's like, listen, you don't have to learn how. They'll teach you how to sell. They'll teach you what to say.
Right. You
just have to know how to work hard. And I know you know how to work hard. I was like, yeah, I can work hard. He's like, you can work hard and you smile and your positive attitude. Yeah, then you do great. And I was like, all right. And that first summer they said, hey, you can try to, get out here and make $10,000 or $20,000, I think is what they said. And I was like, man, if I can just go do door-to-door sales and then come back to school and worry about grades and girls and not have a job and just those two things, like that would be fantastic.
How old were you at the time?
I was 23. 22.
And the $20,000 that would be for a month?
For the whole summer.
Oh, for the whole summer.
For the whole summer.
Okay.
If I made $20,000, date me a little bit, there's less inflation back then, that would have paid for school and housing and all that stuff, and not had to like, work during school and stuff. So I ended up making more than that. The funny story, I sold 250 satellites my first summer.
Wow.
Casey Baugh, some people in the industry that are listening to this would know these names. Casey Baugh and Luke Toon were also first year reps with me at the same time. And I was the first year rep the whole summer. And then the last month, Casey and Luke passed me, and I was the third. I got third that year. But I passed my manager. So halfway through the summer, everybody was asking me for advice. Hey, what are you doing? Like, my manager ended up getting 150 satellites, and I sold 250. And so everybody was like pivoting to me. And anyway, all I attribute it to is just like knowing how to hustle, right? Getting after it and being persistent and then learning skills along the way, beating on my craft.
I would love to ask, so how long did you serve a mission?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And within that time, what would you say that you've learned about door to door? Because you start your mission at 18?
19. I went when I was, like 19 and a half.
19 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2 years, door to door, what was your experience in door to door on your mission?
Dude, I wish I would have done door to door sales before my mission. For real. I would have been such a better missionary.
Okay.
Because not every missions, or they have people go and knock on doors, but my mission we did.
Yeah.
We had a time where it was 7 hours a week is all. And then another time when it was 14 hours a week that they wanted us to knock on doors. And I don't know that at the time, I didn't think like, oh, I'm going to use this as my career.
Yeah.
Right. And they didn't really teach us anything besides like go out and knock on the doors and tell them we represent Jesus and see if they want to learn about Jesus.
That's it.
Like there was not any like specific training, stand like this, say this, those these things. There was like none of that. And so it wasn't like I was like professionally trained.
Sure.
And then, again, coming back, if I would have done door-to-door sales, before my mission, it would have been so much better. But anyway, I learned a lot about, I'm selling religion.
Yeah.
I'm selling Jesus.
Yeah.
And not everybody wants to be sold that.
Yeah.
But that's the same with what we've got in any sale right now. Anything that anybody sells, not every single person is going to want to buy from you, right? Everybody needs air. That's for free.
Yeah.
Everybody needs water. We actually pay for water.
We do.
But you get it different ways, and lots of times you're just stuck with whoever. Anyway, so there's some things that you just going to buy and you have to, but you know, lots of things. You don't have to get your car from this. We don't all have to get our car from the same place. We don't all have to get the solar from the same place, our alarm from the same place, our couches from the same place, right? We're buying from lots of different places. Sure. And so everybody's going to feel that resistance. When I was a missionary, I don't know that I didn't have many truthfully success stories where I knocked on somebody's door and taught them about Jesus and then they got baptized and became a member of our church.
That didn't happen?
Not a lot. It did happen.
It did? Oh, good.
Yeah. It did happen, and it does happen.
Sure.
But
I'm a big fan of the missionaries.
Yeah.
I actually I moved into a gated community now, and so unfortunately
they can't get in there.
They don't show up. I'm waiting for the one to hop the fence.
That's awesome.
But yeah, when I was growing up, I definitely learned you invite the missionaries in, you feed them, you know, and let them do whatever, the teachings and stuff. So
yeah,
I have
that's
a big
great.
respect for that. Yeah,
that's great.
I want to know though, while you were on the mission knocking doors, did you already have that mindset without anybody telling you, all right, clearly this approach didn't work. You know, maybe I need to try to do something else. Like, what were you considering how you were going to approach the door as a missionary?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I the way I approach sales is I'm just a human, man. I approach that this is a human interaction.
Yeah.
And I'm a really good human, and I know that about me.
Sure.
And I try to be a good human. And that's not like a boastful, like, look at me, I'm the best guy ever. Like I intentionally am trying to do good things all the time, right?
Nothing wrong with saying you're a good person.
Yeah. And then I also believe that humans are good. And I believe that to my core. I don't care what religion you are, what race you are, where you're from, you're a good human. And I give you that immediately, the very first time I meet you. And so when I would come to somebody's door, I'm just trying to have a human interaction. You may look at me as a robot if I'm a missionary, or if I'm selling satellites, or I'm selling alarms, or I'm selling solar. You can see my badge, you can see my whatever, and you may look at me a certain way.
Yeah.
And I don't really care. I think you're a good human, and you're going to treat me with respect, and I'm going to treat you with your respect. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But I give respect to them. Lots of times they mirror me because I give them so much respect up front, which they don't normally get. Right?
At the time, right? So you're 19, 20 years old, right? New to life, new to being an adult out in the world and exploring. You got people that are handing you rejection on the door, right? What were the thoughts? Like today, right? We pass these tools along, you know, to new reps that come into the industry. You know, we try to encourage them. We do threads and all these things. But at the time, right? I'm assuming you guys didn't have a group me thread or anything like that to post. You know, how were you taking those experiences and then going to the next door? Like, what was the process? Did it hurt? You know, did you use it as fuel for the next door?
See, that's a really good question. The more and more I fell in love with being a missionary, the more it hurt. The more I poured into the people that I loved. I was blessed to serve in New Zealand.
Wow.
And New Zealand, you don't get to choose where you go. I just got lucky.
I love that.
And New Zealand, people think about the beauty of the earth there because it is beautiful. Lord of the Rings was filmed there and all these things. But the people are like 1,000 times better than the land.
Really?
They're just the most incredible people. And I learned so much from the incredible people. They legit will give you everything or anything. And they don't have a whole lot, most of them. And I remember one old Maori lady, she said to me, whenever a guest comes over, we're going to give them, my dad and my parents always taught us to give them their very best stuff. We've been saving this cake for this girl's birthday.
Wow.
And then a guest comes over, and with that cake that we've been saving for however long, we're now going to give to that guest. And they're going to eat it first too. And we're going to let them enjoy it. And then we're going to have some later. And it was just like, I could go on and on about the pureness of those people. So the longer I did it, the more people told me no, the more I cared, and the hard and it hurt.
Sure.
It hurt more and more as time went on. And that was that was maybe when I was getting into my sales. And actually, I don't really think I got it much with the satellites or with the alarms, but with solar, I started to take it a little more personally, like I was a missionary almost. And if somebody told me no, or if they signed up and then they didn't end up getting enrolled, like it would really hurt. And I remember having a specific point in time with this single mom that I totally hooked up with solar. Like she needed it. I totally went above and beyond for her. I wasn't making anything on it.
Yeah.
Right. I was making a couple $100.
Been there.
And it could have been a lot more than that.
Sure.
Right. But I really wanted to help this lady.
Yeah.
And she signed up. We went through all the process, and like 7 days before, a week before, maybe 10 days before the install, she called and she canceled. And I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
I did all these extra things for her.
Yeah.
I spent all this extra time with her on the project, on everything. And then she said no. And I was like, it honestly took me days, because it brought me back to kind of my mission time of like, this hurt more because I was so invested more with her. And then at that point I realized, man, I need to play the game more. And the game is a numbers game. It's a skill game because you're getting good, but part of sales is you got to put a lot of things in the funnel for things to come out, because things will fall out of the funnel.
100%.
And if you don't have lots of things in the funnel and one thing falls out, if you got 2 things in the funnel and one thing falls out, it hurts really bad.
Yeah.
If you've got 20 things in the funnel and one falls out, it doesn't hurt as bad.
Yeah.
Right. And I was taking things so personal that I realized, man, I need to just play the game and be surprised at a number like that lady. Like, oh my gosh, you're part of the number. You're part of the game. I just wasn't expecting you to be that one.
Yeah.
That was part of the game.
Yeah.
I was expecting the other guy. And then the funny part about the game is that some people you think won't go to install totally make it. And they give you 5 referrals.
100%.
And it's like,
yeah.
I thought that one I was just kind of hoping would, go through.
Yeah.
And so I became less and less attached to the final outcome and more attached to, I'm just going to play the game. I'm going to play the game of life, going to play the game of sales. The game of life rewards effort, and the game of sales rewards effort too, right? So I'm going to give lots of effort, and I'm going to just play the game. And sometimes I'll get an interception, and sometimes I'll drop the pass, and sometimes I'll fumble, and sometimes I'll recover the fumble. All of that's part of the game.
Yeah.
I just need to be in the game to play the game.
I love that. It sounds like, while you're out there on your mission, you're already creating processes, right, of like how to better handle these things and view these things, because people are, one of the hardest things of door to door is unfortunately facing people and the truth of what people can be on the doors. Luckily on your mission, hearing though, that's really awesome to hear about in New Zealand.
Yeah.
That I'm really jealous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it was such a great place.
We should probably have somebody from there come and do an ethics class, here.
Yeah. Yeah. For real. That would be a good thing. Yeah. That'd be a good
that's
thing.
Cool, man. So you got into door-to-door sales in 2005. How old were you at the time?
23.
23.
Yeah.
And you had started in which field was it?
Satellites.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you get brought into that?
So that coach that I talked about, so his son came back from the summer.
That's right.
He was actually the only guy I lost to my junior year. Shout out Brandon Ripplinger.
Yeah.
Only guy I lost to my junior year, and we sat down, he talked to me, and again, he kind of made me that, like, dude, I think we'll make you $20,000. And I made $40,000 that first year, and then never went less than that. But so he just kind of got me into it, and then I did well enough. They were like, hey, you should manage a team. So I recruited a team and managed the team, and then I became a regional manager. And then in door-to-door sales, some companies go out of business, and my company was one of those. We went out of business, and half the people went to one alarm company and half the people went to the other alarm company. And then I sold alarms for 3 years and got out of door-to-door. At the end of the 3 years, I was done. I didn't want to do door-to-door sales anymore.
Why?
I was just kind of done with it's a grind, man.
It is a grind.
The summer program is a grind, day in, day out, like absolute grind.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting, and I wanted to do something different. So I was done with it. And then I started some businesses with my brother. Then I sold LED lighting for a little bit. After paying my tuition at School of Hard Knocks, I lost lots of money on one of our businesses. And then got roped back, or then I did a business networking thing for a year, and then got roped back into door-to-door sales and started solar officially. My official date was December 31st, 2013. So I could say I've been in solar since 2013, but really 2014 is when I started going.
And you came in so you came into Legacy, right? Ground floor.
I started with Vivint Solar for the first 8 months.
Sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
And then when Legacy started, I was there at the very, very start.
And so coming in at ground floor, I don't think a lot of us know. I don't. What's the roots of Legacy's ground floor? What does that look like?
Man, there was only a handful of us. Luke called me up, and Luke and I, we were the first year reps together in satellites, and we worked, kind of side by side. And I was a regional manager, and he was the national sales director. And then when we went over to the alarm company, he was like, "Hey, you're really good at managing, and I'm really good at selling. Let's partner." And so him and I co-managed together in alarms, and we did that for a few years. He called me to rope me back into solar, and then he called me when he was going to start Legacy and said, "Hey man, we're going to probably start our own company." Anyway, the beginning was they didn't have a business. It was all just it was all like a maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Like, we've got this idea and we think we can go do it really big, and then after they left Legacy or left Vivint and then started a company, and I was right there at the very start. But there was only a handful of us. There was three founders and probably like 6 or 8 guys that started the company.
Yeah.
And there's only a handful of us that are left.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened to the others?
They just found other ways to go. Yeah.
New adventures.
New ventures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some have done really, really well, and others haven't done as well. Most of that group though has done really, really well, and a couple of them have come back too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So something that I like to dive into, right, is I feel like it's cool to sit here, and look at all the success. You're clearly a very successful person, hardworking, right? You've
Thanks.
came into this industry, right, at least with Legacy from the start, and you are where you are, right? You're overseeing sales acceleration within the company. But I think a big target for the audience that listen to these, right, are people who are new in door-to-door sales. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure Casey Baugh and Luke Toon are going to listen to all this, right? But there's people like myself, right? I've been in the industry a year, who are very interested in how it is that you got to that success. What was that thought process? What was the journey like? What was the culture? What did you find in yourself? How did you push through some of the hard times? What type of mentors did you keep around you, to keep going? What did the daily practices look like? I feel like these are all good questions for anybody that's looking at getting into door-to-door sales, or somebody that's currently in door-to-door sales, right? Because I know I'm here to be a success, right? Like I'm not here to hang out. I want
or barely scrape by.
I want to win.
Yeah.
And I see somebody sitting right in front of me who's winning.
Yeah.
I want to know how I win.
Yeah.
So what are those nuggets, man? Like, what first year in solar, right? Let's go back to that. First year in sales. Let's go to that. First year in sales. What was the culture like? What was the office environment like back then? Let me hear.
Well, what was mine, or what do I believe people need to have successful today? Let's go there, because
love that.
My culture was great.
Perfect.
And it was fantastic. But like, if I'm listening,
yeah, good direction.
Ashton, you asked me about 25 questions right there.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll go with that. I really like that. So yeah. So the a brand new rep needs to be doing a handful of things. One of them is they need to understand and realize that it's all on them, whether they succeed or not. It's not on the manager. It's not on anybody else. It's not on their mom and dad. It's not on their roommate. It's all on them. They have to own 100% if this is going to be successful or not.
Can you unpack that?
It's all on them.
What does that mean?
So what that means is, like, training.
Okay.
There's so much training out there.
Yeah.
You're listening to this probably for free somewhere. I don't know if this is charged. I don't think this costs anything.
I don't think so.
This is free. And I can give you some nuggets on words to say and not to say, and actions to do and not to do, and all of that. And there's so much for free that a brand new rep should have zero excuse to not be trained properly. They can do all of that. So that's on them. That brand new rep can work the hours every single day. maybe they've got some training constraints. Maybe the boss wants them to be at this place for this amount of hours. Besides that amount of hours, the boss wants you to go out and knock doors or wants you to go out and make phone calls, whatever it is you're doing in sales. They have activities that have proven in their industry to work. They're not going to just monopolize all of your time and not let you do the activities that actually make money. They're going to let you do that. So when it's time to do those things, you go do those things. And our business, we're 100% commission.
Right.
It's super easy for somebody to be like, you know what, I'm not feeling it today.
Yeah.
Because they have a boss, but they don't.
Yeah.
They're their own boss.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and in some areas, some states, they are an employee, but the culture of sales, to me anyway, if you're going to be in sales, you should be in commission sales
100%.
because that's where you make the most amount of money, right?
Yeah.
It can feel a little scary that if I go out and make all these calls, I don't get paid today. That can be scary, or this week, right?
Yeah.
But the opposite's also true. If I go out and I make sales today, I'm getting paid 2 or 3 times as much as somebody that's on a normal job, normal pay, right? So salary. So anyway, they can control the training that they're getting or not getting. They can control the hours that they work, and they can control the attitude that they have. No one can, and the book, Viktor Frankl's book, oh my goodness, I was going to say something about happiness. Man's Search for Meaning is a really powerful book. Are you familiar with the book?
I'm not.
So he was in a concentration camp and stripped away of clothes, stripped away of any dignity, stripped away of anything. And he realized that they can't take away my attitude. They can take everything else away from me, but my attitude, they can't take that away. So against, the wishes of all the people that were keeping him prisoner, he was happy, and he found reasons to be happy, and he shared, and he was kind to other people, and that kindness rubbed off on other people. And they're like, yeah, I guess I can choose to be happy too. Even though this is the worst possible human situation ever, I can still choose to be happy. So a brand new rep has that same choice. And my brother gives me a hard time because we would wake up at 4 a.m. in the summertime, and we'd work at worked at a place where we were making hamburgers and packaging chicken, and just like, it was not the funnest place.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad either, but it was just like, we're waking up 4 a.m, right, for this. And I was happy. And he's like, you can't be happy at 4:30 in the morning. And I usually stayed up till like midnight, hanging out with my friends in the summer.
Jeez.
And I was running on no sleep. And during our 15-minute break, dude, I'd take a nap on the dirtiest floor. I just would crash for 15 minutes, and then I'd get back to work. Yeah. But he would get mad at me for being happy, and it was just a choice, right? Like, listen, I can choose to be mad, or I can choose to be happy, and I'm going to choose to be happy. I'm going to choose to look at the good. I'm going to choose to be good. I'm going to choose to be happy, because that no one can take that away from me.
Yeah.
So a brand new rep that's just barely starting, and sometimes people are like, well, I don't have I don't have enough training. Like, if you're in a company that has more than 3 people in it, you can go ask anybody that's doing better than you.
They just need to be one chapter ahead.
They just need to be one chapter ahead. Like we talked about at lunch, right? That guy's one chapter ahead of me. I want to get to his chapter.
Yeah.
And then once I've caught up to everything that he needs, now I need to find somebody else that's another chapter ahead, right?
Yeah.
And I need to learn from all these people. And so there's no excuse for not enough training. There's no excuse for cutting corners on working the hours, and then an attitude, right? If you can do those things, then you're going to be in a really powerful position.
Can I just say, this reminds me of like a point of, so I read this, I think it's by John Maxwell, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it John Maxwell?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And so one of the biggest takeaways I got from that was living with intention. So I feel like if I read that book 20 times, I'm going to find something new.
Yeah.
For those of you that struggle to read, I'm a podcast or audiobook guy.
Audible. Me too. Yeah.
When I'm out here driving around, instead of playing the music or when I'm in the gym, I play that, right? And I'm going to tell you, it's kind of a boring book listening to it, but the nuggets in there, right? One of the biggest things is living with intention. And so there's the difference between intentional growth and unintentional growth. And so talking about unintentional growth, right, is like, you can have this dream of like, today, right? I'm going to set an appointment today, right? And it's like, well, you have no outline, you know, you didn't really plan it out. You're just kind of moving and figuring it out, you know what I mean? And going and knocking. You don't know what you're going to say. You don't know what hood you're going to go into.
It's kind of winging it.
Yeah. And, you know, versus, and you may reach your goal. You may get that goal, but you didn't grow in that process. But intentional growth, right, is, you know, so here at the office, we do Sunday planning, right? Really big for us. What does my week look like? What time am I waking up? What time am I having breakfast? Am I going to the gym? What time am I listening to a book? What hood am I knocking? You know, so on and so forth, right? It's like through that process, not only do I have a higher chance of reaching my goal, but I have grown through that, right? So just touching on what you're saying, right? Like living with intention, right? It's up to the person whether they want to grow and succeed in this industry or not.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and the people that have the most intention around their life, and just in general, not just in sales, but a word that's been really impactful for me lately is the word meaningful. I'm trying to have meaningful interactions, meaningful connections. I'm trying to have meaningful experiences with my body, with my mental health, right? And that's intentional, meaningful, intentional, right? If I'm intentional about these things, then I'm going to find a lot of happiness in a lot of areas.
So currently, what does the lifestyle, I don't think a lot of people even know the lifestyle that we live in this industry. I think people would assume, and I'm just guessing, that we just get up and go knock doors. You know what I mean? What does the lifestyle look like? What do we have to work on in an office to grow, you know, to succeed, to actually be able to make it on the doors? What's the foundation of
As
that?
an office or as a sales rep?
Both. I mean, I would say they're both hand in hand, right? I mean, the culture of the office is, you know, I mean, if the rep's there, it should be coexisting.
Yeah. So the culture that I like to embody is, I'm going to work my guts out to beat you every day. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to shake your hand and I'm going to thank you for pushing me.
Yeah. So I guess to touch more, what is your daily routine?
I'm in a different position than I used to be.
Sure.
But so I'll kind of talk about some of my morning routine and then like my day now or my day when I was knocking doors and stuff. So what I'm trying to do, being intentional, is have meaningful connections with the most important parts of who I am. Like keep the main thing is something I've talked about a long time. I learned a long time ago. What are your main things and how am I going to keep the main things? Too often our main thing, most people's main thing isn't to make lots of money. If they really think about it, their main thing is their family, their friends, their health, their God. There's a lot of things that come before making lots of money, but we sometimes forget our main things and we just focus on making lots of money.
Yeah.
And then we end up in a doctor's office because our health is crap.
Yeah.
And we're in the glory of like making all this money so that I could have this freedom, and my freedom's actually in a doctor's office, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, I try to hit all of my main things, have meaningful connections with all of my top main things before like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I wake up at 5 and use the bathroom, and then I read my scriptures and I pray. So I connect with my God, and then I go to the gym and I connect with my body. And lots of times on my way to the gym, on the way home, sometimes at the gym, just depends. I'll be pouring good things. I'll be listening to things that are good that I'm pouring into my mind.
Good content.
Yeah, good content. And lots of times I'm just at the gym and I don't listen to anything, and I'm just in my own thoughts and I'm talking to me and I'm listening to me, right? And I'm having, you know, some healthy checking in with myself. So I'm at the gym, and then after the gym I come home and I wake up my daughters. My most sacred hour of the day is from 6:45 to 7:45 every morning. I wake up my daughters, I get them breakfast, we connect, we talk, I brush their teeth, and then I get them off to either the carpool or to the bus or to school if we miss the bus. But I'm trying to have a meaningful connection with each of my daughters. And I got a 3-year-old now, but before, when she was just a baby, my meaningful connection was just locking eyes, like getting in her face and having my eyes lock with her eyes of like, I'm with you, I see you, I love you, we're together.
Yeah.
And that was our meaningful connection because she couldn't talk. And now she's bouncing around everywhere and is a bundle of fun. And then after take the kids and do that, then I come home and I try to connect with my wife and have a meaningful connection. It's not just you go here and I go here and logistics, but like, how are you doing? What are you reading in the scriptures? This is something that I felt in the scriptures. This is a conversation that I had that was meaningful, or whatever, trying to have a meaningful connection. If I can do all of those things before 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, I've absolutely crushed my day. And everything else is honestly a cherry on top. One of my other main things is to be a provider, but that's like down the list, right? God, wife, daughters, health, mental and physical, and then a provider, right? So it's not even in my hand, right? So in my top 5, but then I go into my provider, and I can be better at my job because I hit all these things earlier on in the day, right? I try to come home at night and be home for family prayer, family scripture study, help brush the teeth. If I'm home early enough, I can help with bath time and all of that. And then, love up on my kids before they go to bed, and then spend some time with my wife, plug my phone in downstairs away from me. I don't have my phone by me at when I first wake up or when I go to bed. That's a life hack that is like a simple life hack that not enough people do. We wake up to social media. We go to bed to social media.
At it.
We wake up to emails, to text messages, all of that stuff. We go to bed to that. And I plug my phone in away from me downstairs, long ways away from me, so that I'm not waking up. I went and bought an old school alarm clock.
I was going to say, do you have a nice box?
Yeah. I got an old school alarm clock.
Has it got like the oak wood finish?
No. It's a good digital one. It's a nice one. It's a new age. But I use that. That's where I wake up to, so that I don't have to wake up to my phone, right? And everything on there. So, I work a lot. I usually start work 9 or 10 in the morning. And then go to lunch. If I'm working from home and I hear my wife eating, I try to stop what I'm doing to go have lunch with her, because then it's another opportunity for us to connect. You need to eat lunch sometime. It maybe wouldn't be at the exact same time that I would want to eat lunch, but if she's eating lunch, I'm going to try to eat lunch with her, so that we can connect over lunch.
Can I just say really quick, observation, the alarm clock thing, it sounds so small. It sounds small. You're putting your phone away. I'm sure everybody listening to this can identify with, waking up, phone right out the gate.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think we move in such like a consistency, right? I don't want to say robotic, but we just keep doing it, right? But we actually don't think of how we feel when we do these things, right? So when you pick up that phone and especially when you're playing with social media, you have no idea what content
coming.
I have cop stuff on there and, all types of things, you know what I mean? And so it's just, it really is a crapshoot. But the small step of removing your phone from your room and putting an alarm clock next to your bed, so that way that is not the first thing that you see when you start your day. What has that done for you again?
Yeah, a ton of stuff. It's not the last thing I see either.
Yeah.
Right? If I can I'll have a book by my bed, or I'll talk with my wife, but if I can pour some goodness into me before I go to bed, that's not a screen. And there's lots of studies that say that you should stop looking at your screen 30 minutes before you go to bed, or an hour or 2 hours before, so that you can get better sleep, because the blue light and the whatever else, like, it can mess up your sleep. And so I felt like when I have the phone in my face and I'm not perfect, sometimes I'll still have it there, or if I'm like feeling too lazy, but I need to make some phone calls, I'll grab my charger downstairs and I'll bring it upstairs, and it'll be in front of my eyes. I honestly have a harder time falling asleep because I've kept it in front of my face longer. Yeah. So not falling asleep to that, and then not waking up to that is so refreshing. When I travel, it is my alarm clock. I don't bring an alarm clock. I used to have the little one. I let a kid borrow it and I never saw it back. Yeah. But the one with just some batteries but I do use it as my alarm clock. But I try my hardest, man, not to look at text messages, not to look at emails, not to look at social media. I just about always falter with text messages. So if I'm on the road and I see a text message, that means it's a little more not maybe more urgent, but it's a friend or somebody that has my number usually, So anyway, it's done a ton for me, because then I'm able to connect with my wife and not have that in front of my face, right? At nighttime, we're able to talk and I'm not distracted.
Would you say it gives you more control of like the tone that you start the day off of?
Yeah. And I'm fresh and clean. I feel like when I pick up my phone, then the world is coming in on me.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody wants my time. They want my attention. They want all that information from me, or that I need to give to them. And so it kind of like feels like, oh, I'm okay, here it goes. Right.
Yeah.
And if I can delay that, and I try not to bring my phone with me to the gym for the most part. So if I wake up at 5 and I'm not really looking at my phone until like 8 o'clock, I've got 3 hours worth of fresh brain, right? Where my brain can think and it's not distracted by all the other things. And some people will be like, oh dude, but I need to answer my customer stuff. And I've learned that, I mean, on an install day, if a customer's calling me at 7 something and my phone's not on do not disturb and I hear the ring, I'm going to answer that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the most part, if somebody's angry, they're going to be angry in 30 minutes. If somebody's a hot prospect or a good referral, they're probably going to be a hot prospect or a good referral in 30 minutes. Right. Yeah. So right before this podcast, I got a referral text.
Oh, really?
I responded to the text and I said, hey, is there a time we can talk later in the day? I could take that right now. I could say, hey, can we push this back for like 5 or 10 minutes? But we had this time slotted and they're going to be there after this podcast.
Planning.
Right.
I love that.
And I used to get so like, oh, I got to do it now. I got to do it now. And really, I've learned that the people that are bothered and have an issue are still going to have an issue. And the people that are hot and ready to go, they're going to be hot and ready to go. For the most part, I don't know that I maybe have lost 2 or 3 deals because I didn't call somebody back in 30 minutes.
Sure.
Maybe. But I've also had a fresher brain.
They probably would have canceled anyway.
Yeah, they probably would have canceled anyway. That's right. I'm going to go with these 2, whoever calls me back first. Like, all right, well, that may not be a very good customer anyway.
No, that's cool. I appreciate you sharing. I mean, man, I have to tell you, I hear the first thing is you're a spiritual man. I've started smiling and you kind of caught me off guard because I don't really hear many people do that. You held out your fingers and you went down your list and you said God, wife, kids. Yeah. I forget the other 2. Yeah. But
physical body, mental body, mental. You. Yeah. Physical, mental.
And I love that. If I may ask, it seems like, and I know not everybody listening to this is a spiritual person, right? But this is my show today, so I'm interested in this, right? What about spirituality is important to you in your life, and how does it play a role in it? What does it add to your life? Because I don't think you're doing it out of fear. I definitely can tell when there's people out there that are living in religion for fear. But you seem to be doing it out of faith and love. Yeah. So what would you say that, because I think that is one of the foundations. So for me, when I do my correlations here, I talk about living with intention, and I talk about, mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. Right. And I think it's a core, foundation. So what has it done for you in your life?
Dude, I honestly just had an experience like a week and a half ago where I was feeling the weight of the world. I was feeling stressed about a lot of things. And I was talking to life coach, business coach, Alex, and he had me pause. He had me lean against a tree, like earth, and like had me kind of think about and just kind of say a prayer of, God, what do you want me to learn from this? And right away, I got a response of, I'm in control. I've got this. I've got you. I've got this. And it immediately took away a lot of the like immediate stress of like, oh yeah, there is a higher power with a higher purpose. Yeah. And I'm being forged for a fire of something I don't know about. Yeah. And that's okay. And I have faith in that. And a lot of my faith is based in love. Yeah. I had a blessing of being a bishop at our church for a little while.
How cool.
And
that's cool.
I, to this day, believe that the members of my congregation have never had a bishop love them as much as I love them. And I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't think I was, man. I love God. I love Jesus. And I love like that we're all children of God. And that love for me as a spirit, I feel love from God when I'm with people when I'm with people, like I know you're a child of God. That's really powerful. Yeah. Your spiritual father is the all-knowing God. And that's powerful to me. And I should respect that. And it's something that I teach my daughters. I just taught them last night. We were driving somewhere and I said, I'm driving home from dance practice. And I went on a date with my 11-year-old and we, on the way home, picked up our 14-year-old. And I said, I love diversity. I love there's all kinds of different people in the world from all different countries and all different religions and all different everything. Yeah. I love that. And girls, I've thought about what is something that you say when I was a kid, my dad used to always say, and I'm like, I'm the dad. What do I always say? And the thing that I thought of that I've said to them multiple times that we got our dinner from a guy from, I think he was from Iran or something. He was super cool. He was like telling my daughter to stretch and run and do all these sports and you're smart and you're a leader. It was so cool.
Love that.
Just from like a guy at a restaurant.
That's great.
And so I just said, listen, you're not better than anyone. One of the things that my dad always said was that you're not better than anyone. And you're also no less than anyone. I believe with my whole heart that we're all children of God and that I can learn something from anyone.
Sure.
Doesn't matter what stage of life they're in. If they have a home, don't have a home, if they're rich, if they're poor, I can learn from somebody. We're all on the same level, but you're also not better than me.
Yeah.
I'm not better than you and you're not better than me. Yeah. We're equals here because we're both children of God. And so that understanding to me helps me. Again, maybe that's part of when I'm giving people like, you're a good person and I'm a good person. Let's go be good people together. And you need solar and I can help you. Yeah. Right. You maybe don't need you need solar yet. Let me help you understand that you need some solar here. Yeah. And I'm going to help you and you're a good person. I'm a good person. And we have the same Heavenly Father.
So to touch on, to think about how that relates to my experience and especially in sales, none of you know me, right? But, I turned my life around. I was telling Ashton this earlier. I turned my life around 7 years ago. And there was people in my life that let me know that I had affected them, right? And, the bottom line is what I had discovered is that my behavior, unfortunately, as selfish as I was, I didn't think that I affected people. I didn't think other people really mattered. But that I am actually out doing damage to the world. And for some reason, it was this one person, a woman, who let me know how she felt. And it hit me upside the head, man, like a sack of bricks that I'm hurting God's children, the children of life, right? I don't care. When I say God, I would like to be clear, right? I'm a spiritual man. If you love God, cool, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't care which one or whatever.
God, Allah, Buddha,
God,
whatever.
Yeah, God, you're cool, man. I pray 100 times a day. I have to. And I'm going to tell you, I have no idea who I'm praying to. I'm just praying. You know what I mean? Because I know that I am not it. But anyways, one of the greatest gifts that I ever realized is that I'm not the only person in existence, and that there's a whole world of other people that God had created, and that I'm here to serve them. You know what I mean? And bringing that into this career field, especially, right? So that's why I work for Legacy. I work for Legacy because I believe this is a place of integrity, right? Good moral foundations, right? Yeah. I know that I can go and help a family, which, just like you, I've made a couple bucks on a deal, because I really wanted to help them, and they did go through whatever. And I get to lay my head down at night and know that I did a good job, right? This sales thing, when I was in timeshare, that's kind of a scummy market, I couldn't do it anymore. But yeah, man, I love, I love that you talk about God a lot, and it takes the weight off the shoulders. I know that as long as I keep striding for success, and if I lean on it, him, her, whatever, that, I'll be okay, So.
Agreed. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. So earlier you were talking about, we were having a discussion in the car. Might as well throw this one on there. You were talking about how you've taken a really high interest, right, in first-year reps. And earlier you were saying that you were considering starting some type of program. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I can talk about that. Yeah. So I'm passionate about the first-year rep because I had a good experience as a first-year rep, but not everybody does. Yeah. And sales has been such a great thing for my life that I'm like, man, the people that don't succeed. Here's what happens in sales, man. You go into sales and you realize there's good money to be made there. So the top income earners in the world are all sales guys. And I don't care if you think it's not, if it's Bezos or Elon Musk, they're selling us stuff, right?
Yeah.
That their stuff is better than somebody else's stuff. So we're all in sales. But what happens usually is a first year rep will get into sales and they'll just get the tar kicked out of them until they believe they're no good and they're not a good person. And just in time for them to have their confidence just crushed, then they leave.
Yeah.
When they just need to go a little bit further and just get over the hill. And then they'll start to have some success. And then they'll realize I chose the right place to go. Yeah. This is the right place for me to be. And so I'm real passionate about, because it's been such a blessing in my life to be in sales, to try to help other people get further in sales. Yeah. And so, I like to train everybody. I like to train, and I love leadership development, and I look at people and I don't manage them off of where they're at. I manage off what their potential is. And I think they're here. I'm going to get you to there. But a first year sales rep, like simple things that I think are simple, but are important, like having the frame that humans are good and that you're a good human, and trying to just be an all around good human all the time. That's actually like a really good sales skill, because you know who people want to buy from? They want to buy from good people. Yeah. They don't want to buy from sleazy people. Yeah. So you got to you learn how to be a good person, and how do you do that? And anyway, I'm real passionate about that, and giving first year sales reps some frameworks of, here's some things in any sales, doesn't matter what you sell, here's some things to do. Yeah. And here's some ways that you can get you to the next level. And the course I'm creating isn't going to be like the most advanced courses, like advanced course, but that's okay, because there are other people that have more advanced courses, but you're going to need what I offer in order to get to those advanced courses. And maybe not. Some of them, they can just do it on their own. They may not need me at all, but you can expedite your training through something that I'm going to work on.
So far from being in this office the last year and watching, people come through here, it really, there's a lot of people that don't carry some of the skills that we kind of just naturally have through our life experiences, right? So it's not that they're incapable of it. It's just that they first year sales rep, they haven't done a mission probably, or, we're trying to hustle carrots for Gushers, as a kid, you know what I mean? So I mean, to them, I think having anybody, right, who clearly is a success that can lead the way on that stuff, I think that's all, valuable stuff.
So I'm passionate about that. I'm excited to have that. I'm excited to share that with the world. I think it'll be a great program. And then we'll see where it goes from there. I have advanced skills, but I also don't think I'm the best sales guy that ever walked the face of the earth. And I'm actually okay with that. Yeah. I consider myself a hustler, wrestler that knows how to work hard. Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there that are in my same boat, I think, that are like, I'm actually not as gifted as some other people, but I know how to work. I know how to put in the time. I know how to put in the energy, And a question you asked earlier let's go back to it, because this is kind of in that same.
Was it one of my 25?
One of your 25 questions was like, how do we do this? How do we get this all going, right? And a principle that I teach is that it's okay to sacrifice at the right time. I'm a big proponent of life balance, work-life harmony. There's no really such thing as work-life balance. You got to have harmony in your life, and harmony in your relationships, and harmony in your work relationship with God, relationship with your family, all those things. That's what I'm real big proponent on that. One day I'll write a book about that. I've got a framework for it. But there's also something about sacrificing at the right time. In solar, if you're in solar, you should work your guts out in the summer when the bills are the highest, when it's on people's mind the most. We're in Las Vegas right now. It gets hot, man. You don't want to be out knocking on doors in the summer, but guess what you should do?
Go knock
on doors in the summer, man. And so that would be a time that you would sacrifice at the right time, and you maybe put a little extra hours, and you maybe do a little extra stuff. And if you're just starting in sales, like I put to get the rocket ship off the ground, I was in extra early morning meetings with like business networking meetings, and I would work until I couldn't work anymore, and then I'd try to go to some networking event to try to find a real estate agent or a mortgage broker that I could connect with and that we could bond, and I could try to get them referrals and they could get me referrals. And you know what I mean? Like I was doing all this extra stuff to get the rocket ship off the ground. And I think that was important for me. I don't need to do that anymore. That's a blessing. I've got almost 1,000 personal installs that in the summer months I should get, because I've done good by my people and take keep in contact with them and send them Christmas cards and all these things.
Do you know the exact number you're at right now?
Personal installs?
Yes.
It's like 960 something.
All right. So next time I see you, you're going to have
hopefully,
over 1,000.
Hopefully.
Perfect.
Unless I see you real soon. But
well, with your track record, it clearly shows
we'll see. Yeah.
You can make it happen.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a time and a season, right? To get the rocket ship off the ground, to sacrifice at the right time. That's part of it. And you just got to know when to do that and when not to do that, so that you can maintain harmony. If you always are full-fledged getting the rocket ship off the ground for 7 years, that's not going to work in your relationships, right? Yeah. If you're a single person, cool, and you can do that, cool. But you're probably not getting married. You're probably not having lots of friends. You're probably, if that's what you want, if that's one of your main things, then do your thing, But I would say that most people should only do that for a limited amount of time, and then do it again. Like this summer, I'm going to do the same thing, right? My job isn't to do personal sales. That's not my main role. But this year, I want to get to 1,000 personal installs, and so I'm gonna do a little bit of come with me leadership. Hey, let's go sell together. Come with me. Hey, you want to fly from Florida to come knock with me? I'm knocking. Yeah. If you want to come see me knock, like come to me, and we'll do this together. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just a little bit of that. So anyway,
I appreciate you, man. Going through all of that. We're coming to the end here. I know you come out here for a wrestling tournament or something like that.
Yeah, right? Wrestling the old man's division of the U.S. Open.
Yeah, right on. So I know you got to go fill out some paperwork here in a little bit. Ending notes. This is your second time here. I'm sure you've done a few of these things. I'm sure every time you walk away, maybe there's something like, man, I wish I would have said that, or you know what? I want to end this on this note. Yeah, this is what I want to share to people, or this is how I'm feeling, and I think you guys should know that. What do you got?
Dude, that's really good. That's a really good question at the end. I don't often walk away thinking like, oh, I should have said this different.
I do.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. Yeah. But I will say we went down, a part of this was like on the spiritual path. And I appreciate that, because that is a big part of who I am. And sometimes people are scared to talk about things that might be controversial or not exactly like what everybody else thinks.
They can skip this episode.
They can skip this episode if they want. Yeah. But I guess the end note that I would say is you be you. Like I love everybody personally, but I also love when people are themselves. I love that I get to be me. Yeah. I'm not going to judge you for you being you. I may not agree with what you do. Yeah. But if that's you, man, go be you all about it. Because I'm going to be me. Yeah. And I'm going to expect you to be okay with me being me, because I love who I am. I love who I'm developing to become. I'm not perfect. I'm not anything that's really above anybody. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not better than anybody, and I'm also not worse than anybody. I'm just doing my best. Yeah. Like I believe so many people are. But I love that we talked about that, because that's a big part of me. And so the only last thing that I would just say is like, you go be you. Go be you. Go be the best you possible. Yeah. Figure out what it is that makes up who you are. Shine. And shine, man. And I've put a lot of time in figuring out like who I am and who I want to be. Yeah. And who I'm becoming, so that I can become the best person in those areas. Yeah. And I'm a work in progress, and we all are. And that's a beautiful thing about life. And so you be you. That's what I'll end at.
Man, that was good. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on the show with us today, man. Thank you. Lee couldn't make it here. He asked me to fill in, just kind of as a testament to possibilities, right? Like I've only done this 3 times, and you know what? I've got out of my comfort box, and I wanted to try something new. I wanted to face challenges. And I'm sitting here with a very successful person interviewing him. And I'm going to be very clear. I probably have almost no clue what I'm doing. But I'm being me.
You be you,
I'm
man.
being me.
Love it.
Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Thanks for having me.